Hi guys, it's Lynn here. Hope you're having an amazing day. Now today guys, this is just a quick video, perfect with Valentine's Day, just to talk to you about how you can care for the Hoya Kerrii plant. This is my Hoya Kerrii here I have in the window. I have it leaning against the window because it's a trailing plant. And I have a few different types of Hoyas in my collection, but I'm just going to talk about the Hoya Kerrii in this video. And by the way guys, these beautiful flowers here is actually on my Phalaenopsis, not the Hoya, but they're very beautiful anyway, and lovely to show off at the same time. Now with the Hoya Kerrii, this is talking about just a bit of a basic care about it and how you can grow it. And I have two in my collection. The first one down there is actually just the heart leaf, which is the one that's most commonly seen. So I can't really get much closer there just to show you that in the pot. And I bought two of them last year. One I lost and I've still got the other one. I'm going to talk to you a bit about that and my views on them that are sold as single leaf in a minute. I've made a video already on it, which I'm going to share also. But this is the Hoya Kerrii, the large plant here. But the care is the same for both the leaf, if you have success with it, and also the mature plant. Now, as I say, start off with the leaves because that is the one that's most commonly seen. I have that one there. Now, the sad thing is when they are sold as leaves, which you often see in the supermarkets and in the garden centres, they're often just one single leaf without the part of the actual stem which you need for it to actually live long term, because this is where it will send out the new shoots. And because it's often cut there and then it's just potted up as a plant, they will often root, but they often die long term and rot. So personally I wouldn't recommend getting one of the single leaf ones, but because they are often sold usually for €2 or €3 or dollars, if you want to try your luck with it anyway, then you can go ahead. I bought two last year and I'm very happy to say the one is still alive. It hasn't grown or anything like that, but I repotted it last year and it's got a good root system on it, so fingers crossed. Some people say that they can live long term and suddenly start sending out new growth, so only time will tell. Now it's important that this plant is given a well draining soil. Now this is here, it's a well draining mix. I do use more peat with my Hoyas than I would with my cacti and my other succulents, because they do like to be kept a lot more moist than normal succulents do. So I prefer to use a bit more peat in with the soil mix I use. I make my own soil mix. I normally with the succulents would use just a loam based soil, but with this I use a tiny bit of loam, but then I'd use more peat as well and just mix it up with a little bit of grit, as you can see here, a bit of fine grit. The most important is that it's well draining, because Hoyas will rot if they're kept in soggy soil. So any good quality, well draining soil mix would work. And when it comes to watering them, you need to make sure that you let the soil dry out in between. Now it doesn't have to totally dry out. Hoyas are not like other types of succulent plants that can go long time without watering. They do like to be kept regularly watered, I should say. And what I do is I let the top of the soil, as you can see here, dry out. If I was to stick my finger in it, it'd still be a little bit damp underneath. But the top of the soil is dry out before I'll start to water again. And this prevents rot. So they don't like to be kept wet for too long, and they don't like to be kept dry for too long. They just ideally like to be kept moist and the top surface dry out, and then water them again. Rainwater is always preferable if you've got clean rainwater. Other than that, they prefer sort of a soft tap water if you have not got no rainwater available. If you've only got hard sort of tap water, it's best to let it stand for a day or two before using it on any of your house plants, not just your Hoyas. Now I have my Hoya here. This is in a south facing window, and it's actually, because we are sort of in Ireland, in Northern Ireland, it doesn't get a lot of sun as such, even though it's in a south facing window. In the summer I would move this plant a little bit more towards off the window so it gets more indirect sunshine, which they do prefer. Because it's still winter here, it's fine in close to the south facing window because it's not going to get too much sun. They do like a bright spot, as I say. These Hoyas don't like to be grown in dark, definitely no dark. You know, they will probably survive in shade, but they do prefer to have a bright indirect light, and that's for all Hoyas, not just Hoya Kerrii. But obviously a bit of indirect light, a little bit of sunshine as well is good for them, especially for the flowering. And fertilizing, they prefer to be a little bit under fertilized. Too much fertilizer can damage them. So I would fertilise this Hoya Kerrii during the spring and summer when it's actively growing, and I would probably get a bit of fertiliser once every couple of months. Either like a baby bio, which is a regular fertiliser, or the maxi crop houseplant fertiliser as well, which seems to do well. But any good quality houseplant fertiliser will work well. And as I say, make sure you dilute it well and you don't over fertilise, because these Hoyas don't need to have a lot of fertiliser because they aren't overly fast growing plants like some plants would be. And now just trying to think what else. Yep, they're flowering, usually flowering spring, summer and late autumn, fall. They do pretty much flower when they feel like it. We have our Hoya carnosa there, which we have trailing up at the side of the window, and that pretty much flowers pretty much when it wants, even in the winter. But in general, it is more of a spring, summer and autumn flowering plant. And it is, as I say, the flowers are absolutely beautiful on them. They grow in little tiny little bunches, almost absolutely stunning, almost into a ball shape. They are so, so beautiful. And this particular Hoya is gorgeous even when it's not in flower, because of the leaves are heart-shaped, which is why it's so commonly sold as the Valentine plant, because it has naturally heart-shaped leaves. It is really beautiful. And as I say, it's more commonly sold with the single leaf in the pot. But a lot of the time it is very difficult for the single leaf to take root and survive long term. So if you can get hold of a mature plant like this, then that's highly recommended, because you're guaranteed much better long-term success. Now, it's a trailing plant, so they like to be growing up and sort of put onto some type of trellis. Here, as you can see, we have this tied up going up against the wall there, which it loves. Again, it's on the right hand side, just a little bit off from the window, so it gets a bit of sunshine, but more indirect sun. That's our carnosa. Seems to do well there. And as I say, the Hoya Kerrii, when it gets more into the spring and the sun comes more into the window, I'm going to move this slightly off to the left hand side where we've got the orchids there, and it'll get more indirect sun, which they prefer. When it comes to propagation, as I say, I've never propagated Hoya myself. They can root easily, sort of in water. I've got actually some cuttings there that were gifted to me, that you can see down the back there, they're taken from cuttings. They've rooted and I potted them up. That was actually from my friend George. They've rooted very well, but I've never actually took cuttings myself, so I can't really speak from experience on that. So that's the only thing I can't really cover, is on the propagation side. But hopefully the other care tips would have helped you a little bit on this wonderful, wonderful plant. And as I say, it's a beautiful, beautiful plant to grow. Now, what's your experience of growing the Hoya Kerrii, guys? Please drop your comments down below. It is, as I say, one of my favourite plants, an absolute beauty. This is one I actually got last year from Cacteen Haag, which is an amazing nursery in Germany. And at the time, it was about that height. It was grown all this since the last year, which is absolutely beautiful. So as I say, in brief, guys, give it in a bright spot away from intense direct sunlight. A little bit of sun won't hurt, but they prefer to be away from direct strong sunlight. Keep well watered, but let the soil dry out in between waterings, just at the top. Don't let it totally dry out, but the top of the surface dry out in between waterings. And as I say, fertilise once every couple of months with a good quality houseplant fertiliser. A well-drained soil mix, which they like, because it's important that these do have plenty of drainage. And as I say, propagation is usually from cuttings, and most commonly seen as the single leaf there. And links up above, I say, there's a video that I've made on the Hoya Kerrii Valentine con, because they're so commonly sold as the single leaf and they nearly always die. I've been lucky with this one so far, but I know most people share their experiences with the single leaf. It's not recommended. It's better to get yourself a proper plant if you can. So guys, thanks so much for watching. And I want to send you loads of love, heaps of happiness, and tons of plant power from across the Emerald Isle. And until the next video, bye. Let there be love.